Transfer portal, it changes by the hour. The transfer portal right now is in its final spring window. So after this, you'll pretty much know who's on your team for better or for worse. You didn't think Colorado was going to sit around and not do something, did you? I didn't. I don't know if they're going to necessarily fill the void with a bunch of 4- and 5-star guys, but Colorado's making their move. They, since the last time you and I spoke, have added an Ohio State running back. They added an edge guy from Penn State. They added an offensive tackle from Texas, a defensive tackle from Ohio, which is actually the kid I think we have rated the highest. Rayan Buell, he's a 4-star defensive end from Ohio University, the Bobcats here, and I don't think they're done. I know you guys have a lot of opinions. I do too. We've talked about it on the show. You've got a lot of opinions about how Dion carries himself. What are the players saying on social and all this stuff? I really more care about how good the team's going to be in the fall. And they're adding the pieces. They have to do it this way. It's a different approach at Colorado, admittedly so, than elsewhere. So they're not done yet. And I think there'll be a few to several more additions that they'll make and they have to make. CJ West is a guy that I have an eye on. He's a Kent State defensive lineman. So this dude's all MAC last year. And if you look at the PFF grades, I think he was the highest rated defensive lineman, according to PFF, in the entire MAC. So that's a lot of guys. And he's got Wisconsin, LSU, Indiana on his radar. I think Miami and Florida State are probably both going to get a shot there. That's a difference maker. Like, that's a guy who can come in, and if you're playing meaningful football in the middle of November, he's in the thick of it, and you're saying, wow, that pickup we had from where? Kent State, yeah. Well, that turned out to be really big. Yeah. They don't all have to come from Ohio State and Alabama, guys. You can have a really, really good player. Now, it's not fun if you're a Kent State fan, or if you're just looking at what's happening to the G5 ranks or the FCS ranks in general. It's not fun because chances are, especially if you have difference makers on the lines of scrimmage, it's only a matter of time before you don't have them anymore. I'm not the commissioner yet. No one's elected me. I can't do anything to fix it. It just is what it is. Jamon Tapp is an edge guy that's in the portal from Texas. This is a classic situation where Texas is pretty well off as a roster, and they're going to be there's going to be a caliber of player that's good enough to be a rotational player at Texas, as he was last year, that's good enough to start somewhere where they're not quite as loaded as Texas. And that's what I think Jamon Tapp's looking for. 6'3", 266 pounds. As I said, he's an edge player. He played in like 8 games last year. Good, solid rotational piece. Don't know what he would have been this year. Probably would have worked his way into the rotation a little bit more. But I've got an eye on him and CJ West. And then also, I'm looking at Texas just as a collective, because as we talked about, teams are like heat maps, right? And you've got a lot of red on the Texas heat map, but there are those little pockets of blue. And Texas is like a number of programs where they need help on the interior of the defensive line, and they're looking for it. They did land Bill Norton. That is, by the way, Arizona's 9th defensive lineman to depart due to either transfer or graduation since last year. So have fun with that. But Bill Norton comes in. I thought they were probably in the lead to land the services of Jay Tuia from UCLA. Not so much anymore. He went back in the portal. That surprised me. That, I think, surprised a lot of people, that they were able to get him at UCLA to come back. Normally, you don't see it work that way, especially when there's staff change and guys go in the portal. You normally don't see them come out of the portal and stay home. So that's good for them. Texas is still hunting. They're going to make, I think, at least 1, maybe 2 more moves there. So those are some of the schools I have my eye on. Also, I'm really interested if Michigan can make any meaningful moves at wide receiver. I know they want to. We all know they want to. Can they make any moves? Can they find guys that are worth, exploring? It's a little bit harder to get guys into Michigan than some of these other places. So it's got to be right. It's got to be right.